since I am in here by myself, I want to thank the Art Guild for the Purple Isles and our Monroe County schools. We're going to name them all in a little bit. We've got Key Largo School, Ocean Studies, Stanley Switlick, Plantation Key School, and Coral Shores High School, which did a phenomenal job. We appreciate all the work. Art of the Abyss is a collaboration we've done for 3 years. It's going to be up from tomorrow morning through March 18th?
17th.
And 17th. So St. Patty's Day it will be closing. Thank you all, and we're going to be doing the ribbon cutting. So thank you, colors for your scissors. And are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay!
All right. I think from there, we're going to get started on a little virtual tour. I'm going to kind of walk you through the exhibits and pass the camera over to Lisa. So I am camera, and here we have Lynnea.
So we want to take a few steps back. I'll kind of bring you into the exhibits.
But first, you're going to introduce yourself to everybody on the call.
Now that we're a little bit further, my name.
Hold on, Lynnea. Hold on. Where'd you go? No offense to everyone. I was muting everyone just so we could hear better for the recording. So you can start now, Lynnea.
All right. So hey everyone, my name is Lynnea Wilson. I helped curate this exhibit here. It was a collaboration between many AGPI members as well as schools from the Upper Keys and Marathon as well. It's always fun to dive into art with you all, and this was another fun show. We start with a little intro information about the organizations involved, and then we jump into the art, of course. So some of you heard about David Bader's large art piece. Here it is. It's entitled Stalking the Abyss. And on this wall, we really wanted to have artworks that were tied to the deep ocean, since that's our theme in part. And I love these works by Gisela. This is actually a close-up of an octopus. I don't know, I don't think I can name every single art piece. We'll be here all night, but I want to make sure you guys get a good taste of it. And certainly at the end, if there's things you want to see or questions that you have, I'll do my very best to answer. Or maybe we can hear from the artists themselves. That would be even better. On this wall, you'll see that things get slightly deeper. So we start, this is the deepest part of the ocean being shown to you in the artwork. We have a piece I know Ingrid's on, and I loved this picture of hers. Both of these are her, actually. And then we start to get a little bit higher up in the ocean, a little more light, a little more life. And this was a particularly vibrant exhibit. We had a lot of really beautiful, bright art pieces this year. And from many artists, I don't think that have participated in every Dive into Art exhibit we've done. So happy to have you folks. This is Diane's piece that I mentioned has already sold. I love a lot of you included scuba divers this year, which we appreciate you thinking of us in that way. Just slow
I'm trying to pan slowly so everybody can see the different pieces.
So here we kind of call this like the surface level. We see a lot of dive boats, a lot of kind of surface of the ocean images, which we like. And in a lot of different styles. And then we start to move into our educational piece of the exhibit that we always like to do. So we talk about some deep ocean animals and do kind of fact sheets on a number of the really exotic creatures that you see in the deep, as well as we'll have a video that talks about some of the expeditions to the abyss, the various voyages that have happened in order to try to understand this area. That's really, really difficult to understand because so little life can survive there, and venturing there is incredibly difficult. One thing people use is ROV technology, which stands for remotely operated vehicle. And we actually got one for this exhibit to be able to show the kind of technology that's used. And we'll have some additional labels that get put in tomorrow before we are officially open to the public. Then we also have a few artifacts from our collection. that tie into this theme. And then in the case behind me, because it is the deep ocean, a big part of what that means is bioluminescence. And bioluminescence is something featured in creatures that essentially emit their own light. So we have we have 2 blacklight cases that have been wired. This one, unfortunately, had a glitch today, so we have new lights coming. But when the lights are on, it's really pretty exceptional to see just how brightly these shine. I'm going to plug in the regular lights so you can still see the works in the case.
We have a lot of the sea creatures down here that were made by Coral Shores students.
Yes, so Coral Shores Middle School and I believe Elementary School made these sculptures. And then the rest of the case is our guild members. And these are so beautiful under the black light, especially this work by Ginger, all of them. I also love this piece inside of the palm frond by Mary Ellen. And Diane also did a bioluminescent piece.
On a coconut.
Yes, that's right, and fish. And then we also have 2 artworks that were not intended to be blacklight, but they look so beautiful in this case that we moved them here. It's a shame that our tech stopped working tonight, but it will be fixed by tomorrow afternoon. So, and then if you dare to venture this way, we have our educational function of the exhibit. It's an interactive cave that we've made. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, I think, on the screen, but we're pretty excited for, especially the students who made art, to come and see it installed in a pretty unique way. So follow through. So in here we have artworks predominantly made by Key Largo School, as well as some pieces by other schools as well. And we have recreations of some of the animals that we talk about in the exhibit, like the vampire squid that's over here. And you're actually looking at the tripod fish right here, which is a very fascinating underwater fish that actually it appears to stand on the base of the ocean floor.
So we're going to walk through
our cave. And when you come out of the cave, you'll see, that's the vampire squid, one of my favorite creatures of the deep that we got to learn about. Second blacklight case.
We're going to flip everybody. There we go.
So here we have artworks predominantly from Plantation Key School, who painted a number of canvases across this back wall. And then we have more of those sculptures from Coral Shores. I'm glad this blacklight case is still working, and you can see how fun these creatures are lit up. We've got some amazing squids. They also made all their own labels for their art piece, which is a great piece of museum learning. And they clearly did a lot of research because we see so many animals that only exist in the abyss, and we love seeing that educational component too. I especially love their vampire squids. They've got giant tube worms and lots of anglerfish. And the way that the glow paint brights these fish up is so cool. Same for these pieces in the back. With not being able to go into the schools, which I know is usually part of what AGPI does for this exhibit, it's really cool to see the work that they created, especially our Coelacanth. And this was a collaborative art piece. So every kid, every child in the upper keys that was with the 5 schools that partnered with us, they received a worksheet that had information about the ancient fish, the coelacanth, and as well as an activity they could do to decorate 5 scales. So then when they were finished, their teacher collected those sheets, and we had Diane Smith and Mary Ellen Holler design this program. They then organized them, had the scales cut, and sent them to Dabney, who is the new art teacher at Coral Shores. And she organized her high school students to create this sculpture itself of the coelacanth, which is, I'm very impressed at how much this looks like a picture of the coelacanth. They did a really good job doing their research and constructing something incredibly difficult to make. And then incorporating, of course, all of these scales from students all over the keys. It's a really cool collaborative art piece, so I'm happy to show you guys. And that about concludes our tour Oh, no, it doesn't. What am I saying? There's a whole wall of art behind me. So these are all things that are kind of the familiar ocean bottom to us. So it's not the deep, deep ocean, but it's things that live on the ocean floor. So we see lobsters, which I always love to see in our art here. All kinds of jellies and middle ocean things, and then lots of octopuses. We had lots of octopuses in a couple of different areas this year. Someone told me it's because of the new Netflix documentary. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought that was fun. So you'll see, and then we have the smiling lionfish, one of the first art pieces dropped out that should make you smile. And then we have a wall of photography as well, and this is our final view in the exhibit. This is an educational piece about the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. And then we have, we have photography works by Daryl Duda, who's an AGPI member and also a member of the History of Diving Museum, as well as Carmen Alice's picture of this loggerhead up here. And truly that concludes our tour of the art.